One of the newest phones to make the cut, the Xiaomi Mi A1, did well in the Gadgets 360 review on all fronts except battery life, and even that wasn't too bad. The brand's budget offering have lacked in the camera department, and the Mi A1 corrects that with a dual camera setup. It's also part of the Android One program, which means it's going to get regular updates. The phone has a striking Full HD 5.5-inch display, a 2 GHz octa-core processor, 4 GB of RAM, and 64 GB of storage, along with a 3080 mAh battery, making it a real beast on paper. There's a 5 megapixel front camera and a 12 megapixel dual rear cameras, which make it a great pick. A good phone from Samsung with a superb screen and a great design at a reasonable price. The Samsung Galaxy J7 Prime scored well in our review. For people who still want to stick to a big brand, this is a great option under 15,000 rupees. It's got a 5.5-inch Full HD display and packs a 1.6 GHz octa-core processor, 3 GB of RAM and 16 GB of storage, with an 8 megapixel front camera and 13 megapixel camera on the back. It also has a 3300 mAh battery. Another new phone, the Moto G5s, continues the company's strong performance in the sub 15,000 rupee price band. It's rated well overall in our review, though the camera is a little disappointing in our opinion. Despite that, it's still one of the best phones under 15,000 rupees. It sports a 5.2-inch Full HD display, a 1.4 GHz octa-core processor, 4 GB of RAM, 32 GB of storage, a 5 megapixel front camera, and a 16 megapixel rear camera. It also has a 3000 mAh battery and runs Android 7.1, scoring particularly well on the software section. An older offering, the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4 remains a good choice even today at a very budget-friendly price, beating out a number of phones that are more expensive in this price range. In terms of specifications, it shares a lot with the Mi A1, with a 5.5-inch Full HD display, a 2 GHz octa-core processor, 4 GB of RAM, and 64 GB of storage. It also has a 5 megapixel front camera, but there's a single 13 megapixel rear camera and a bigger 4100 mAh battery. There's also the Moto G5 Plus, which got a price cut recently, bringing it under 15,000 rupees. We noted in our review that the phone did well on most parameters, and the build quality and display are good selling points along with the battery life. The phone has a 5.2-inch Full HD display, a 2 GHz octa-core processor, 4 GB RAM, 32 GB of storage, and a 3000 mAh battery. It has a 5 megapixel camera on the front and a 12 megapixel camera on the back, and runs on Android 7 out of the box. The Lenovo Z2 Plus is also slightly old at this point, and a price cut actually brings it into the under 10,000 rupee band, but it can compete with more expensive offerings. As we've pointed out in our review, it's let down by the camera, but does well on all other fronts, particularly the battery life and performance. Packing a 2.15 GHz quad-core processor, the phone has 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. It also has a big 3500 mAh battery, despite a relatively small 5-inch Full HD display. There's an 8 megapixel camera on the front and a 30 megapixel camera on the back.